Hello folks, hope you're doing well. My name is Marc Gallagher. I am a professional musician here in the UK, and I did an overhaul of my pedalboard. I showed it in its current state, but I wanted to do a few videos that deep dove into a specific pedal and looked at the various settings and sounds we can get. Today we're going to be looking at the Blaxx Delay. This is a nice cheap little delay unit by Stag, which I have and love in its current use, which for me is like an always on slapback delay. However, we're going to be exploring settings a little bit more. Firstly, I just want to talk about what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be playing the Jet JS600 TGR, which is on loan from the kind folks at Hal Leonard. And I've also going through a couple of amps, my Vox AC10 and the Fender Blues Junior. Here are the settings of those amps. Here are how I have mic'd those amps. And I've also got a couple of room mics at the back so you can hear what it's like from my perspective. Anyway, so I'm also going through my pedal board, but there are no pedals on except for the delay itself. So firstly, here is the clean sound of my guitar. That's it. That's the sound of the guitar into those amps. Here is the delay on, as I currently have it. So at the moment, this is like my always on slapback delay. There are three knobs. The big one here is your delay time. Then you've got an echo, which is like the level of repeats. And then the feedback, how much it feeds back into itself. This one you can see clearly right now, it's about 9 o'clock. These knobs are difficult to see from the camera, so I will be telling you of their positioning frequently. Right now, echo is about 9 o'clock. Feedback is about 11, 12 o'clock. So let's start just exploring the echo knob, see what happens when we bring that up. I believe it turns up the volume of the repeats. Now about 12 o'clock. So that's already pretty loud repeats. Let's see when I bring it up further, about 2 o'clock. So yeah, echo is just the volume of the repeats, not necessarily the number of repeats. So if I was to whack this up, you would still hear what? Just those 2, 3 repeats. Now it's on full. About 2, 3 repeats, because it's the feedback knob which is showing the number of repeats. Let's bring the echo volume here down. It's about 11 o'clock now. And then take the feedback up. Let's move 2 o'clock on the feedback. That's quite fun. If I exaggerate it a bit more, about 3 o'clock. Nah, yeah, 4 o'clock now. You hear that slight modulation towards the tail repeats. Listen again, the way it kind of goes, changes in the mids. That kind of like degradation thereof, which is quite nice. It's sort of this analog style thing that's going on. Let's just exaggerate it. Feedback on full. I think this means it's gonna like repeat like indefinitely. Yeah, it does. So I don't want that, or at least, well, I don't want it. You might, but having it at like that 3 o'clock, you get some nice things for when you're doing like lead lines. Turn the pedal on. That would help. So yes, that's pretty good. It's nice for some of the effecty delays. It's just not how I necessarily use this pedal. Going back to the settings as I had them before, echo at 9 o'clock, feedback at 12. Now let's start playing with the delay time, this big knob in the middle. Just at the moment, like this kind of very quick slapback thing, it just gives ambience. It becomes very not noticeable when you have it much lower than 9 o'clock. Very just a bit of ambience, really. Let's start exaggerating. Let's go 10 o'clock and I'll start playing with some settings. Take it back 12 o'clock. Obviously, I wouldn't necessarily strum this kind of thing. Which is why I like to have it as a lower thing. But that's pretty cool. Let's go 2 o'clock maybe. Going to take the feedback up a little bit for what I want. Getting a bit carried away there. My word, yeah, it's quite fun. Obviously, this is just a small thing that doesn't have fancy features like tap tempo. So when you want to like dial in some really precise things, you're going to have to do it by ear. And that was what I was doing when I was just like taking a note of, okay, I've got the rough idea of the tempo at which it repeats. and then I know how to sort of play in and around that. And it's kind of the way you would have to work forward. Let's exaggerate this a bit further. At full whack, let's see how long the time is. So, okay, we've explored the three basic settings when we do exaggerate them. Let's see what other kind of things we can do while we're here. Get some long, more feedbacky, more echoey, see what we can make with this. Okay, something there. Let's just beef this up. I'm going to throw an overdrive on. I'm going to stick channel 1 of the Wampler Paisley on, and then those together, we're going to get something like this. What I think is a good thing to try now is getting lead lines where you don't necessarily have to get it in time with it, where the delay can just kind of follow you at whatever tempo. So just a small little repeat. So for an idea like that, I want to bring the feedback down. I don't want it to trail on for too long. So feedback about 11 o'clock there, echo about 11 o'clock. So here you've got like 2 repeats, I think. So. And at that point, I think the repeats start to get in the way. So bringing the echo volume down a bit more and feedback a little bit. And then we start getting back to a similar territory as to where I was when I started, which in this case, I like the sound of a short repeat that is going to be like always on. So I have my delay time at 9 o'clock there. Let's try one last thing before I go back to ending this video. Feedback. If I bring that all the way down, that should mean I get like no repeat, I think. No, I get something, but it doesn't feedback on itself. So I'm going to turn the echo volume up now and see what happens. Echo is on full whack, feedback is none. You get like a single repeat and that's it. And I think that the echo volume is really important here because that gets in the way too much. So you want it to sound like it's, or at least I want it to sound like it's gradually fading away. I would want more feedback than what I have. Let's go 9 o'clock on feedback. Let's bring the echo volume down to like 11 o'clock there. And there we're starting to get, like, you can still hear the delay in it. It's just really short, but it sounds semi-rhythmical. Let's bring feedback up a little, echo down, and then what I'm going to do is put the delay down the time for about like 8 o'clock here. So feedback 9 o'clock, echo 10. So just, this is where I start to get in a territory which I kind of like. Bring the echo down, that's about 9 o'clock, feedback to about 10, and then what, 8 o'clock on the delay time. And I think that's going to call it for that, because what we've done is we've understood that with just these three main controls, your delay time, your volume of echo, so this is like the return volume, and then the feedback, which controls how much the pedal feeds back on itself and thus how many repeats you get. Through the use of these parameters, you can get quite a nice scope. You can get some really lush, long delay lines. We can absolutely reach and find the limits of each of those dials, which we have done, I think. The way I like to have this is I like to set this delay up as my always on slapback delay, which you heard at the start and just at the end there, where I can still strum it and I don't feel like it's trampling on itself with the amount of repeats. And I like it as a bit of extra ambience, and it's always on, and I love this pedal in that use. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video, but I'm going to leave it there. My name is Marc Gallagher. Follow me on your social media of choice at Marc Gallagher Music, Marc with a C. And you can also support me on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Marc Gallagher Music. Until next time, my name is Marc Gallagher. Like the video if you want, share if you feel compelled to, and follow me on places. I'll catch you down the road.